It seems that we are all reporting it all the time. Outrageous data breaches at the biggest retailers putting our privacy and our money at risk. Have you heard of biometrics, using your fingerprints or retina scans as IDs? ABC 7's Taylor Torregano joins us with more. Taylor.
Good evening, Alan. Identity fraud is a huge issue. High-profile data breaches like that of Equifax, whose breach exposed 145 million people's data, raise awareness but don't seem to reduce the risk. In fact, for the last 2 years, the U.S. has recorded the highest amount of identity fraud to date.
Thank you. Take care.
She's walking into a hair appointment now, but when Karen Martell swipes her card to pay, she'll think twice.
Had my identity stolen. My business's identity stolen. My husband has had his identity stolen.
Unfortunately, Martell is one of 16.7 million who had their identity stolen last year. A new record high, according to statistics listed by the Insurance Information Institute.
It's terrible because then you got to put everything on lockdown. You got to call everybody.
To this day, Martell is still not positive who was responsible, and she was a victim not once, but twice.
You're just a victim on the internet. It's like there's pickpockets on the internet everywhere you go. You have to watch your wallet and your pocketbook all the time.
BluePay, a credit card processing service company, claims biometrics is the solution to this credit card fraud. Biometric data includes fingerprints, DNA, and face and eye scans. BluePay didn't respond to our efforts for an interview, but wrote in this article that banks and credit card issuers can authenticate transactions by matching users' biometrics with information stored on file. They claim this way of authentication will significantly decrease fraud.
We're not going to run into biometrics being used.
Cybersecurity expert Doug Logan isn't convinced, at least for now, until biometric readers are way less expensive. He says not only is there a huge cost associated for each business that would need to purchase these readers, biometric authentication is also not as secure as it sounds.
There's no reason why an attacker couldn't simply take that digital representation of your biometric data along with the credit card data and still process a transaction.
Though the extra layer of protection doesn't hurt.
And obviously that makes it a lot more difficult, where these days it's very, very simple for someone to get a credit card number and put on a magnetic strip to reuse it. So you're increasing the bar, and so it is more difficult. It will reduce fraud. But the question is, does it actually do anything long term?
Even BluePay admits sooner or later hackers will likely add biometric software and equipment to their list of skills as it becomes more mainstream.
When in a commercial environment the biometric information is captured, it's usually just the distance between two different minutia points or whorls or whatever on your finger. And so it's more a stream of digits that represent what the mathematical model of those measurements are.
And if an attacker obtained that, the system would have no way of determining it wasn't you.
That's where I really think the problem is hackers. It's not so much about eye recognition or thumbprint recognition. It's about hackers getting into people's personal accounts, company accounts, and stealing that information.
And it's only getting worse, especially here. In 2016, the Federal Trade Commission found well over 34,000 complaints for identity theft in Florida, the second highest in all 50 states. So if biometrics isn't the solution, what is?
Figuring out better ways to authenticate rather than authorize the person. If I'm doing a better job authenticating that you are you, then I'm less likely to allow your identity to be stolen.
And if it were up to this cyber ninja, a two-step authentication via text message.
So you would put in your credit card information, right? You'd click submit on it, and you'd be sent a text, and the next field would ask you what that text value is, and you entered it. To me, that's a much more viable solution to significantly reduce fraud and online fraud than requiring, a fingerprint or an image or whatever it is that you're trying to use. Because there's no difference between, once I get to a website, there's no difference between me and a photo of me from their identification standpoint. It gets very, very difficult.
Because the chances that a hacker has successfully stolen someone's credit card information, cell phone, and passcode significantly smaller.
And the experts add that there are more advanced forms of biometrics that are being studied right now, ones that use the pattern of your heartbeat or even the way your lips move when you talk. But all of these are very difficult to implement from a web standpoint, where most of the fraud occurs.
Taylor, thank you.